All right, hi everyone. Welcome to today's edition of the Student Athlete Interview Initiative. My name is Emily Schmid, and today I'm here with Ben Barnett, who is a rising junior at GW. He's on the men's tennis team, and he's majoring in international business and finance with a minor in political science. And this summer, he was a Congressional fellow intern. So, Ben, can you just tell me how you got interested in pursuing an internship or possibly a future career in kind of the government political realm?
Yeah, sure. So back home, my dad's a politician, so I sort of grew up with in that space around me and always had an interest in it. I grew up going to Canberra, which is the capital in Australia, sort of walking around the Parliament House there. So coming to Washington, DC, I had an interest in learning about the political sector over here and just, yeah, how it all works here, the ins and outs of it.
Nice. And so I know I mentioned before you're kind of like a business major. So how do the skills that you learn in those classes kind of help you in this government sort of area?
Yeah, so with the international business, I've really enjoyed doing that because it's quite a global perspective on things. And sorry, could you just clarify the question?
Yeah, so like how your classes are kind of centered around like business, you said international business finance. So the stuff you're like learning in those classes, how do they help you in when you were in your internship kind of like in a political sort of sphere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a political science minor as well, so I've been able to do some of those classes and get a bit of a feel for it through that. A lot of the skills you learn are not necessary. It's sort of how you study and how you're interacting with people. So I sort of grew up with that around me and just the teamwork involved in some of those classes, how to interact with colleagues at work and your employers. So yeah, it's more of that more than the actual what you're actually studying.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the real world experience really kind of transcends over exactly, like what you're studying. You learn so much more about it like by doing, which is so good. So when you were kind of getting ready to prepare to apply or interview for like your current or your position that you had this summer, were you able to talk at all about like your experiences being a college student athlete?
Yeah, definitely. Um, so more than anything, it's just talking about the sport that you play and your time as a student athlete is great for just building a rapport with whoever you're talking to. Um, Obviously, you can leverage that with the skills that you learn. With tennis, you have to be very attentive. You have to be very hardworking. You've got to be focused every single point and constantly self-evaluating your own performance and then the strengths and weaknesses of your opponent as well. And then there's the whole teamwork aspect of the just being on a team, which is great in any working environment that you're in. So there's lots that you can bring onto the table being a student athlete. But to start with, it's just a great conversation starter. People love talking about sports, and even if the person I'm talking to doesn't play tennis, hey, maybe their son plays tennis or their brother plays tennis.
Exactly. I think like you said, it's such a great conversation starter, and I feel like it really like opens so many doors just by having that sort of experience to lay out, first thing.
Yeah.
So when you were actually, doing the work in your internship, were there any skills that you thought, you really excelled with that you thought you could kind of attribute back to playing sports your whole life or playing sports in college?
Yeah, I would say the teamwork is the biggest thing I can think of. I was with a group of 5 or 6 other interns, sort of in the same role, and being in a team, I'm used to that. So I would be able to pick up things and learn things without having to ask questions. I can just sort of watch what they're doing and learn that way. Also, just interacting with them, being able to collaborate. It's not that easy sometimes. So having that experience prior to the internship was really good.
Yeah, that's so good. I feel like a recurring theme that we've heard over these videos is teamwork, and it's something that I feel like has been ingrained in us since we were little and first started our sport. So just kind of to close things out, what's the biggest piece of advice you'd give to a student athlete who now is looking to get into an internship or career kind of in politics or the government realm, kind of like that you were talking about? Just what's the biggest piece of advice you would give them in regards to like preparing to apply or interview or whatever steps they need to take?
Yeah. So for me, networking is huge. That was really big for me. I actually didn't have to interview for the internship I had this summer. There was an application process, but it was a lot more informal engagement with the director and the people I was going to be working with. So in terms of networking, just taking the initiative, you just have to take that first step, get outside of your comfort zone. And once you start doing that, it becomes a lot more natural, to the point where I actually really enjoy just staying in touch with potential employers in the future, or just being courteous, being kind, being inquisitive. People like talking about themselves, so always ask a lot of questions. I can think with a class I did last semester. I've stayed in touch with my professor, and I email him every month or so, just giving him an update on things when I may not ever work for him, but just learning how to do those relationships is really important.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like that's something we really develop in sports because, as we get older, we meet new teammates, we have a bunch of new coaches. And in your case, even like you came to, a different country to play a sport and you had to meet all those new people. And I think that skill is just so transferable into the workplace. Well, thanks for talking with us today, Ben. We really appreciate all your insight and be on the lookout for some more videos coming soon. Thank you.